Hi. Hey, welcome back. It's week 2 of the tapping challenge. It is very nice to be with you again. How are you doing? Have you managed to watch and try the invitation in the week 1 videos? The week 1 video, if you haven't caught it, is up on the page and you can go back and watch that, and it really talks you through the basic steps, what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing a little bit more of today, tapping on some acupoints. And when we tap on these acupoints, we're sending a bit like an electrical impulse through to the amygdala, that part of the brain that sends out the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, and it soothes and it calms it. So in week 1, I walk you through very slowly and carefully the process that we're going to use, so you know the points. So you might have had a chance to try that out and got familiar with it. And I invited you to try it out over this last week so that you could have the experience of how it feels to use EFT tapping when something came up in your life. So it might be that you had your buttons pushed and you got a bit triggered, and maybe you were mad about something, maybe you were upset about something, and you had a chance to try this out and see how it feels. Because much like taking a really deep breath, a lovely reset, having a hug from a friend, it can be like a de-stress. And we get to notice how when we tap on these acupoints, how it can work with our nervous system, and it can release the charge that's around for us and bring us peace back into our body's energy system, which works on a mind, body and spirit level. So it's holistic, really brings us back into a reset so that we can be calm, we can feel more regulated, we can feel more open to receiving people, receiving love, receiving opportunities, hearing our intuition, just that lovely reset. But of course, we don't want to only be using it to take the edge off when we get triggered. It's a really lovely thing to do. It's a wonderful way to use it, and I really encourage you to use it for that. There are lots of things that can support you in soothing your nervous system if your buttons are pushed. So this is just one of them. But EFT has such a deeper application than that. And what I want to invite you into this week, in our week 2, is how you can work with those patterns, those triggers that keep coming up for you in a deeper way. Where imagine you're doing the weeding, you're not just chopping the tops off the weeds, you're actually getting the roots up. Now, when you are triggered, like we did in week 1, and you're feeling that emotion and you're getting that response and you start tapping on the points, you're going to get some benefits. You're going to maybe get some of those roots up because you might just get a little bit deeper by accident. But I want to really get to those roots in a very intentional way with you. So that's what I'm going to invite you into trying in this week's challenge, this week's taster opportunity stroke invitation, if you feel called to try it out. So if you think, I can't really remember the points, I can't really remember what to do, don't worry, for 2 reasons. 1, you can go back and watch the week 1 video and go back over the points and remember where we tap and what we say and why we do that, if you need that reminder. And also, I'm going to show you the tapping now and you'll get a chance to follow me. Okay, so just relax, come for the ride. Remember, this is a taster. It's just a chance to try it out, to try it on and see how it goes. So just imagine you're that parent who quite often gets irritated. Or just imagine you're that parent who quite often finds themselves feeling cross or frustrated. Or just imagine you're that parent who finds themselves weeping quite a lot, sitting in a heap in the sad sack pile. Notice what it is for you, which is your pattern. You know it, you know your ways, you know what your patterns are, you know where you find yourself frequently. So with lightness and love, just as a way of honouring trying this out, okay, so lots of love and just lightness, just notice what your patterns are and choose one of them. Choose one of them. I know that I will frequently find myself feeling frustrated. Okay, frustration comes up, and sometimes that will come out by me trying to push things along a bit, You know, sometimes it comes out in the tone of my voice, and sometimes it's something that I'm just feeling in my body, you know, frustration. So notice what yours is and give it a word, you know, call it what it is, know it for yourself. If you need to pause and think and feel into this a bit, take your time. If it helps you, you can have a notebook or a bit of paper and just do a little bit of doodling or journaling, however helps you feel into this, you know. So if you think, I'm not quite sure what mine is, just take your time to have a little play with it and find it, and then come back to this video. Okay, so my example is frustration. Yours might be sadness, weepiness, crossness, irritation, shouting. There's really, you know, no rules about what it is or what it's called, and call it what you would call it yourself. Really personalize it and make it really specific, because that's when you're going to get the best results out of this technique, when you use your own language. Okay, so if it's got sweary words, give it sweary words, whatever it is for you, you know. And have a little think, just feel into, just lightly, you don't need to dig deep for this, but who are the people that come to mind that this really shows up with? You know, it might be your children or a child, or it might be your partner or your mum, or, you know, so just note, or multiple, you know, notice who those people are where this shows up in particularly in your relationship. And just, that's part of our process of what in EFT tapping we call tuning in. It's just like really getting the exact frequency, just like on a radio, you have to like twiddle the knob to find the right frequency to listen to the station that you want to listen into. We're finding our frequency and tuning into it and really getting purposeful. So in week 1, we waited for something to show up. It was like the radio came, you know, you're in a shop and a song comes on the radio in the shop, it's played at you, it's played to you, you're in the experience. In this, in week 2, we're choosing the station, we're choosing the song, and we're deliberately going there, okay? So it may not be that right now that you're feeling this, but you're acknowledging this pattern. Who are the people? What are the experiences I have? And you're like dialing in, tuning in, and finding it deliberately and consciously for yourself. Because although you don't want to feel it right now, you are honouring your process that you can, in this space, in this loving place, make it conscious, bring it into your awareness, tune into it and bring it up to allow yourself to deliberately and consciously work with it using the EFT tapping. So you're bringing it up, and then we're going to tap on the acupoints and bring that feeling down. And when we do that, we're not just bringing it down in the moment, we're actually getting to those roots, because we're acknowledging the patterns and the people and those triggers that are all around it, and we're getting a bit deeper. Okay, so you can start by, like I said, either just being aware of it now, or stopping and pausing the video, and when you've got the space to come to this, bringing that awareness and finding your thing. And we're tuning in our radio station, tuning in our frequency by asking ourselves, who are the people, the places that, you know, set us off into this feeling, this trigger that we have. And then I want you to ask yourself, how do I experience it? How do I feel it in my body? You know, so for me, like I said, my example is frustration. So when I think about frustration, you know, what are the sensations that come up in my body? What are the thoughts that I think? And again, if it helps you to have something to write these down, don't go writing, you know, an essay about this. But if it helps you to jot down a couple of doodles or a couple of words to help you stay focused, some people work better with that. So you can do that if you want to, but there's no need to. You can just embody that knowing and that feeling if that works for you. And then we're going to start by doing the tapping. Okay, so I just want you again this week to play with this. You can do it once with me now, but you can also come back to it and try it on each day if you want, and see if your experience of this sensation, this emotion, this feeling, this trigger actually does come down a bit over the week through doing this tapping work. You know, it's just an experiment. It's just something you can just play with and see if it supports you. I'll just remind you, like I said in week 1, but the things you might experience that you might expect to see after you've done some of the tapping on the points is signs that your body is relieving that sort of pent up, blocked energy, a sense of relief that can be just like a deep sigh, or, you know, your shoulders might relax. You might feel that your stomach drops where you've been holding it tense and you didn't even know, or your jaw, maybe you're unclenching fists that you didn't even know were clenched, or maybe your thoughts get a bit clearer. Sometimes we get signs of release like yawning, sighing, coughing, sneezing, kind of just ways our system is clearing out these blocked, stuck emotions and experiences that have been sort of stagnating in our energy system that maybe we haven't even been aware of, but we've just been carrying them around with us. It's like having a good old detox, you know, the gunk has to come out. Okay, so just to let you know, those things can happen. And sometimes we need to have a good shout, a scream into the pillow, or a thump of the pillow. And sometimes we need to have a good old cry, you know, make use of the group, make use of your friends if you're needing some support right now. And remember to bring in great gentleness and love and lightness. Don't go into the heavy life stuff. This is just a taster, okay? Go very gently. Don't make your life hard, okay? You'll be amazed at the results that you get from bringing in, you know, with a very light experience of this. It can have really terrific clearing out, lightening up results, you know, really amazing stuff. Okay, so if you want to join along with me, you can just tap on the side of the hand. Like I showed you, you don't need to lift the hand up. If you remember, we tap on the fleshy part of the hand here. And finding your thing, you can say after me, even though I frequently have this trigger, this feeling, this experience, I deeply and completely accept myself. We're going to say that 2 more times and keep tapping, but I just want to let you know that I know I am really exaggerating and emphasizing the words. It's entirely deliberate. It really helps support our brain, that primal brain, which is in like that survival overdrive and not really wanting to listen to absorb the words that we're saying. It really helps us to take it on board. Okay, so even if you're saying it in your head, try and put that energy and emphasis behind it. Back on the side of the hand. Even though I frequently, really frequently, have this trigger, this experience, this emotion, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I frequently have this trigger, this experience, this emotion, this thing happen, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then up on the eyebrow. And I just want you to use your reminder phrase, which just keeps us focused on where we want our attention to be. So you could just say this trigger or this emotion or this feeling. You say the one that suits your scenario the best. Okay. And on the side of the eye. This trigger. Under the eye, this trigger. Under the nose here, this trigger. Good, and we're going to go on the chin, this trigger. And then over the collarbone, big wide hand, this trigger. Flat hand under the armpit here, this trigger. And a flat hand on top of the head, this trigger. That really is all you need to do. So I would suggest, stroke recommend, stroke invite you to, very gently, to just give that another go now, just because maybe you were concentrating quite hard, watching me, listening to me, focusing on what you should be doing. So I'd like to invite you to do exactly the same thing, but take a nice deep breath, hold that, pause at the top a minute, allow your breath to just slowly release so you can come into relaxation in your body. And I want you to relax your mind, let go of trying, of efforting, and allow yourself to flow with this. It is a very forgiving, flexible process, okay? So this is about you experiencing it, not getting it right. It doesn't matter about the steps. It matters about just enjoying what comes through for you and relaxing into it and letting it be what it is, okay? So we're just going to do one more time, tapping on the side of the hand here, and say after me, even though I frequently have this trigger. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I oh so frequently have this trigger. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I frequently have this trigger, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I want you just to fine tune that radio just in case you've got a bit distracted, and remember what your feeling is, what your trigger is, and the people and the places and the scenarios you associate with it. Really fine tune that radio station so you've got that frequency really zoned in there. Notice any body sensations that you associate with it. And then we're going to tap on the front of the eyebrow and just say this trigger, or you can substitute it for this feeling, this emotion, whatever fits for you. And on the side of the eye, this trigger. And under the eye, this trigger. And under the nose, this trigger. And on the chin, this trigger. And over the collarbone, this trigger. And with a flat hand under the arm, this trigger. And on top of the head, this trigger. I always instinctively want to take a nice deep breath. If you feel like you want to join me in that, it's not part of the process, it just feels really good. So feel free to do you. Take a nice deep breath, have a shake, stomp your feet on the ground, whatever it is you need. Take good care of yourself now. Go and sit under a nice blanket, go outside, have a sip of water, whatever your body is calling for. Just give yourself a moment to honour that. And remember that the process of letting go isn't always immediate after the tapping. It can come after the time. So you might notice signs of going into more relaxation or signs of release. And sometimes they're like a lovely soothing and sometimes they're like an ugly blubbering or a scream or shout that comes through, you know. So honour yourself and go, oh, okay, isn't that interesting? That energy is moving, and give yourself lots of love and care and compassion as you move through that. You can do this tapping as often as you like, but don't make it a task. You know, don't push yourself. Be loving and light with it. But if you feel like you want to do it, you know, every day this week, do it every day this week. If you feel you want to do it a couple of times, go ahead, but only if it feels honouring and it feels good. Don't be like pushing yourself. There's no, you know, race. There's no goal to get to here. It's just to try this on and allow yourself just to work with what your natural rhythm is calling for. If you need any help, if you've got any questions, if you need clarity around anything, if you want to share anything, come into the space. Feel free to tag me. Come and, you know, let us all know how you're getting on. Thank you for coming and being here and spending this time. It is really fun to come and do this with you. I will see you next week for our week 3 video. And I'm here for you all week. Okay, cheering you on. Yay, bye.